Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here. Yes, the media are playing the blame game. Many prominent YouTubers prepared us for this before even a ball was kicked with season 11. It is not Chris Chibnall's fault and the BBC's fault that Doctor Who season 11 has failed creatively. It's the fans' fault. Yes, it's our fault. And we knew they'd be blaming us because we don't like it. So it is obviously our fault. But nobody's buying this anymore. Nobody is falling for this. The media are upset. They're trying to scrap and trying to find excuses and reasons for what's going on. So of course, it's the fans' fault for not liking it. We should all pretend that season 11 is the best version of Doctor Who. Now, I want to thank SC Reviews for his video, where he was reading some reviews off Amazon, DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And I want to do the same and just really look at some of these comments and reviews for Doctor Who Season 11 for the Blu-ray and DVD. So we look at Miss Dita D. Hadley. This is important, of course, because she's a woman. What a total load of rubbish. Jodie Whittaker can't act. Chris Chibnall can't write. Too much political correctness in this show. Time Lords can't change gender. Now let's have a look at this. Let's click on this and see what she says. John Pertwee said to one of his assistants, avoid like the plague. I will stick to the classic Who, where the stories are more believable, and so should you. Wow. I don't agree with everything in that, of course. I don't go down this too political correct route because it just gives the defenders an excuse to justify themselves. So we want to be a bit more intelligent about what we say. I am really a big fan. I buy all about Doctor Who since years. DVD, Blu-ray, CD, video games, pins, cards. So I saw the hype first episodes. Jodie Whittaker, obviously this person's grab of English isn't great. Jodie Whittaker is really not a good actress in Doctor Who. The best actors of the new team are Tosin Cole and Bradley Walsh, I agree. Stories are boring, except episode 3, Rosa Parks. A good story. All the others are awful. What a pity. Now it looks like X-Files. I think I will stop. If it was anywhere near X-Files, I'd be happy. I think I will stop my Doctor Who collection. I began with William Hartnell. So this is the worst series of all Doctor Who history. I hope a new Doctor and a new writers. The TARDIS is no more blue but green. Blue about the stories. Everybody is disappointed. This is the end, my friends. What a pity. They killed Doctor Who. I won't forgive. I hope they will stop after 10 episodes. Kill the Doctor and gave us a new Doctor and other writers and directors. Also, they introduced politics. It's not good. Half the part of the fan is, of course, disappointed with the heavy critics of Trump. He's not like episode 4 shows. Also, Green Power stories and all this kind of thing is interesting, maybe. But this is not Doctor Who. Not interested in Trump stuff. So where are we? Here we are, Matthew. Never thought I would say that about Doctor Who, a show which used to inspire creators' minds and have kids hiding behind the sofa is now cramped with social justice. Politicalisation, poor dialogue, weak character development, and overall a lack of excitement instead of preferring to just have the characters explain every aspect as if the audience are preschoolers. The actors and actresses range from mildly invested to simply not even trying. The main actress is solely trying to replicate the action of Matt Smith, however fails in every regard. This is actually quite good. To create a unique or interesting interpretation of the character in question. Agreed. The CGI cinematography varies in quality, which would be acceptable if the episodes had strong writing. However, they don't. The most notable example of this is the episodes Arachnids in the UK, where the characters try to pretend that letting spiders starve or suffocate to death is better than a mercy killing. The character we are meant to hate in this episode, who is an allegory for Donald Trump, is surprisingly the only one who seems to understand that putting down a suffering creature is better than just letting them go in agony, knowing that they are going to die in a horrible way. That's a good point. I never saw it like that. Hopefully the show is cancelled before we arrive at the stage where nobody watches anymore. We're nearly there. A cancellation may be the only thing to save the show enabling for a reboot in a few years' time. What we got here? The show under Chris Chibnall is very poor. The fault isn't the acting, although they could lose one of the TARDIS companions and no one would notice. Let's have a look. It's the lack of monsters and poor scripts that show. The show looks great, but it's so dull, agreed. Each episode is a slog to watch. I know every showrunner likes to put their stamp on the show, but Chibnall has sucked all the fun out of the show. That's true. Where are the monsters? Where's the excitement? I do hope they make major improvements to season 12. You wish. They could start by getting some decent writers, but as long as Chibnall is in charge, I don't see much chance of that. Very true. Apart from the contrived sex change for the main character and the silly attempt at diversity amongst the companions, the stories have so far been trite, and Jodie's character is like an over-eager primary school teacher. Time to end the series. To be honest, I wasn't keen on the idea of a female Doctor Who, but I watched anyway, as I also thought Matt Smith didn't look very promising when he was cast, and how wrong I was. We were all wrong about Matt on that occasion. He soon became one of my favourite Doctors, mine too. However, in Jodie Whittaker's case, I was sorely disappointed. Series 11 has been awful so far, only up to episode 7. At the time of writing, the stories are weak, loaded with heavy-handed political propaganda, and the casting has been terrible, with some notable exceptions. Bradley Walsh, Art Malik. Worst of all, Jodie Whittaker can't carry the role. She can't. She's entirely unconvincing as the Doctor. I've been watching the series since the early 70s, but alas, I think it's the end. Or should I say, the end was Series 10 of New Who's Series 11. Just isn't Doctor Who. It's awful. I accidentally pressed on this as I have already seen it, but just thought I would mention it. Seems to go on to YouTube to play after paying for it, and then it's very disappointed. The quality is like VHS, terrible. No point reading that one. Don't know why I wasted my time. So basically, look, the audience reviews are very, very negative. 1 star, 2 stars. A lot of mention of political correctness. I don't go down that avenue, as I say, because people who want to defend that can easily kind of defend Doctor Who season 11 by talking about the people talking about political correctness. But the point stands, as I said many a times before, your ideology isn't another person's ideology. So to spray so heavily in a season of a sci-fi show, not only any sci-fi show, but Doctor Who, is wrong, and it hasn't worked. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Where are the defenders? Why aren't they writing on this? Because they are not buying it. They're not buying it. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, some of them are on YouTube defending what's happened. But the reality is they won't be buying any of the box sets, the Blu-rays, DVDs, or any of the other stuff. So what happens is people who have been following this show for years actually buying DVDs and Blu-rays. It's the gift that keeps on giving. We're the people who are called out to be racists and sexist, but we're the ones, even though we hate it, still buying the stuff for it. It's an absolute mess. It's a big, big mess. And I think I've said this before. The situation at Manchester United with Jose Mourinho is very similar to Chris Chibnall, with a lot of us saying, well, maybe he'll do better next year. And we saw it with Jose Mourinho. You can't force someone to be something that they're not. And this is the problem with Chris Chibnall. You can't force him to be a good, interesting showrunner for Doctor Who. Now, this is what's going to happen very quickly. It will be announced very quickly that season 12 will be his final season. That's great. But the problem is, who are they going to bring in next? And her final season, which is obviously season 12, it will be announced quickly because they'll want to get some consumer confidence. And by announcing that he's going and she's going, will bring back consumer confidence within the IP. So it will happen very quickly. But the reality is here, people who are subsidizing this show are not happy. The young people who used to watch this are not watching. Children whose parents are kind of trying to force them to watch it with them are saying, no, mum and dad, I don't want to watch this. So it's all finished. It's over. All they can do is announce that these two people are going as soon as possible. And you mark my words, that's exactly what's going to happen.